Another weekend, another shard event. Hello, everyone. Bront CatHerder here, and we're having some fun playing Raid Shadow Legends, and that portal is yellow. So we are going to be pulling some shards today for the Wixwill event, and should have some fun. It is a progressive chance, so we'll be picking some champions. But first, let's go over the news quickly and take a look at who is available and why I'm pulling when I'm pulling. So first, we're looking here at Friday. At Friday, you've got Glaciad, the Meltwater. He's a champion who could certainly substitute for Duchess in a Hydra team as far as a counter for the Fearhead. Sun Wukong, who is everyone's favorite monkey. Rosalvarg is everyone's favorite rabbit. Mortu, who's kind of fallen off. And Kaja the Rai, who's actually a pretty solid reviver. They're available on Friday from the legendaries, and as far as the epics are concerned, you've got Lockwine, Deacon, and Doom Priest. All three of them are solid. Deacon's probably the best of those three. Doom Priest is very good. Lockwine is a Mikage fusion, so you're going to need at least one of him, so not a bad chance to pull if you're looking for Lockwine. Cardiel and Velkanen at Voids with a Kemptum and Genbo. Again, not bad champions, but we're not pulling Voids, we're pulling Sacreds. On Saturday, we have Gaiath the True Shield, Kaioku, Blizzard the Howler, and Korgar Deathbell, and Snick Track from Ancients and Legendary. Okay, champions. Gaiath looks like he could be interesting. Kaioku is pretty solid. Blizzard's got some good use if you've got a good soul on him, and is generally a decent all-around champion. Korgar's a good protector, but only if you're actually early on. Snick Track's not a bad protector either, but I've never been super impressed with his kit. And after a lot of hype, he's really kind of fallen off and people are talking about using him. So Taragi is a wonderful epic. Sandlast Survivor is not bad. Skull Crusher is a good counterattack epic for a clan boss. So is Taragi. In fact, the two of them combined would make a really good part of a early clan boss team. Then you've got Krisk the Ageless, who continues to be a meta champion since birth, effectively, and Necrit the Great. As far as the epics are concerned, we've got Andrysia and White Dryad Naya. Both are very solid Void epics. And then finally on Sunday, we have Elva, Bad El, Oella, Knock the Paralyzer, and Lady of Vereth. All available. Elva is probably the best of those bunch. Oella is actually fairly useful in a couple of comps. Bad El is a very great early to mid game progression champ. Honestly, he's a very good champ overall. Knocked, his kit's okay, but he looks like he should have been a better champion for Sand Devil than he actually turned out to be. And Lady of Areth is just not great. In the epics, we have Ulfrig, Dalaja, and Renan the Silken, which is why on my main I will be pulling on this Sunday. Ulfrig is the only champion I am missing from the Lady Mikage fusion, and that is going to determine where I'm going to pull on my main. Sienna Amberheart and Tuhanarok are for Voids, decent Voids. Urgrim and Demitha from Voids as well. So if you're pulling Voids, this is actually probably one of the better times to do it. Tuhanarok's a great champion. Urgrim is very good. Demitha is very good as well, especially if you need a unkillable clan boss team. And Urgrim is actually very solid for poisons. As I mentioned in a different video, Urgrim and Bad El Khazar can almost be swapped in a couple of cases. Bad El's better overall, but Urgrim does a very good job in most cases. So on my alt, which is where we're at right now, I am going to be pulling on Friday. That's right, this is Friday to Saturday. I would like this Glyciad. That looks like an interesting champion for building Hydra teams. I would not mind a duplicate Sun Wukong, but I think we're going to go for Glyciad the Meltwater because I think that's a more interesting champion to grab. Don't think it really matters which of these three epics I go for, so I will probably go for Deacon so I can empower a Deacon because Deacon's kind of cool. And that's where we're going to go for there. So let us get to pulling some shards because that's what you're all here for. First up, we should look at the Summon Rush and see what points we're looking for and what we're looking to pull. So I need an Arwid. I have actually missed one of the events. I'll probably miss a few other ones. That's fine. It was planned. So on this account, I need to pull at least 10. I'll probably just pull 11. And I planned on at least 10 being the case. It looks like they actually pushed it up to 11, so there's a bit of a creep here. This one's at 5. That's actually a bit of a creep. Usually this is close to like 2150, not 27. So that's a little annoying. But overall, not bad rewards, especially once you get here the legendary books. The barrels aren't bad. 5-star chickens don't hurt. That's a 6-star haste glyph. That's actually very nice. And the usual assortment of energy gems, silver brews, and that sort of stuff here. There's no real reason to go past her. I mean, extra books are nice, but the champions that we're talking about are not super amazing. And we're not talking a 2x chance. We're talking a progressive chance if you get a legendary. So we'll just pull the 11 I need to get her and go from there. All right, so we've got my progressive set. We've got 18 shards. I'm pulling 11, so I'll be pulling down to 7. We have the channel favorite Pepsi drink here, not a sponsor. Those of you who missed the chance because my microphone was muted the last time I had a chance to explain this, professional here. And Pepsi is just kind of been a bit of a channel meme on Twitch. I was drinking Pepsi. I drink Pepsi a lot, but I was drinking Pepsi when I pulled Brogni, who has been a champion I've been trying to pull for 2.5, 3 years on a 3.5-year-old account. So it meant a lot to me. It was kind of cool. I almost did a spit take. It took me a little while to figure out I'd actually pulled a Brogni, and it's kind of become a thing. So we have Pepsi. We get legendaries. Pepsi, if you want to sponsor me, reach out. We appreciate it. All right, let us go get some gold. Gold right away. Errol 404. Legendary not found. Now, Errol is not as bad as he used to be. Errol now actually has attacks a single target, 30% chance of increasing a crit. This is now on every skill. It used to not be on every skill. And this is an AoE hit when it used to be a single target hit. And he also ignores 15% of damage. So Errol is a usable nuker. He's okay in arena early on. He can be okay for wave clear. He is not what I need on this account. I'm kind of disappointed because I was really hoping to not get an Errol. Errol used to be so bad that we joked about accounts that you'd pull Errol and it was not worth keeping the account anymore. He's really was just not very good. And he's still not great. But if you need a nuker early, if you need damage in faction wars, he can be a good champion. He's not the worst anymore. He's below average, and that's fine. You have to have some below average. All right, so we got 10 more. Hopefully that is not the only gold we're pulling on this video, so let's keep on pulling. Ooh, Pepsi's working, and it's not working well. That is a Roxum. Ew. Roxum is horrible. Roxum is really, really bad. Roxum should be good. His kit reads like it might be interesting. The problem is he's very dependent on having perfect veils. So while under a veil of perfect veil, he does different things. He puts veils and block debuffs and whatever else on himself. His kit reads like it should be better, but he has a bunch of single target hits. I think this is an AoE hit if he's under veil, but none of them do a lot of damage. He's really hard and difficult to set up. You need to book him to get the full amount out of him. He needs a lot of books. He is a bad champion. That is very, very disappointing. And, you know, it's really frustrating because now I pulled 2 legendaries in a row. They've both been very disappointing. The only good thing about Roxum is I believe this account actually has a Roxum. So this is a faction guardian. So champions I actually use are going to get better stats, and that's a win. But that's the best thing that can happen with Roxum is you put them in your vault. All right. Grab the Pepsi. Let's get something better. Come on. Another gold. 3 in a row. That is not 3 in a row. That is a Morag. I actually should keep a Morag. Morag is actually pretty solid. She's got her counterattacks when she's under strengthen. Teams up with 2 random allies in a single attack, so a bit of an ally attack. Gains an extra turn if an enemy is killed. Could be interesting. And then attacks all enemies and places strengthen all allies for 2 turns. So she does a decent amount of damage mitigation, does a decent amount of damage overall. She's a defense-based champion, so she's easy to make both tanky and damaging. And I hear really good things about her, and I have just kind of been feeding her because I haven't been interested in building epics, but I really should build her out. So that's worth keeping. That's actually a good pull. So let's get some more. Haven't gotten any Deacons yet. Haven't gotten any of the 10Xs. Or actually, it's now 25X, I think. Trumbor is pretty solid. He is ally protection and yep, that's right. He's the ally protection champion who's pretty solid. Removes debuffs, decreased duration of all debuffs, and this is a pretty solid. He's useful for early clan boss. He's not as good as the reviver in the orcs, but pretty good new epic overall. Let's get something better. Come on, can I get a real legendary? That would be kind of nice. Basilisk, useful for his AoE A1. Nothing exciting other than that. We can do better. Got 5 left. That is a Sanguinea. Not particularly exciting. We can do better. Yep, we're pulling down to 7. Got 5 left. Come on, Polarium. There we go. Korgar the Deathbell. Oh. Wasn't I just talking about how this guy was one of the more disappointing ones in the 10X or progressive? This is an amazing shard pull. I've gotten 3 legendaries, and they've all been super disappointing. And, you know, that's just kind of how this game works sometimes. Sometimes you get some cool stuff, sometimes you don't. Korgar is not a horrible champion. And in fact, I've used him in some teams in Centranos. Korgar has an AoE A1 that heals himself by some of his max HP. He's an HP champion, so that's good. So you deal damage and he heals himself. Well, that's not too bad. He's got an AoE attack that chance of filling turn meter of all allies and removing all debuffs. So once this books, this is a turn meter fill of 30%, an AoE attack, and a 100% chance of removing all buffs. That's actually a pretty decent ability. And when I say he's not useful in the late game, is he just doesn't have a great place late game. But early and mid game, this would be an absolutely awesome carry for an early game account because he'd be easy to build tanky. You can build him with some decent damage. He's got ally protection. That's the only reason you have to worry about building him for damage because ally protection champions do not want crit damage. Put strength on everybody though, so that's nice as well. And then increases resistance and defense by 10% for ally protection. So he takes less damage and gets resistance, so it's less likely to get ripped off. And increases all ally resistance by 15 and defense by 5% for each ally buff on all allies. So one way to get extra resistance and extra defense. Overall, he's good for clan boss, for progression. He's good in a couple of Doom Tower scenarios. It's not great overall. The counterattack is kind of nice as well, and that heals him as well. So he keeps himself alive fairly well if you keep him up with that stuff. That is 3 legendaries, and I'm kind of disappointed. That's kind of sad. All right, got the Pepsi. Pepsi luck is rolling in. 4 more. Let's go. That's an Allure. Allure has definitely been power creeped, but it's definitely worth having at least 1 Allure on your account because she is amazing for Dark Fae. You could certainly build her in Destroy for the Scarab boss as well as another option to use for Allures. For me, it took forever to get Allures on my main, so I just got used to not using Allures, and she doesn't work in Fire Knight Hard anymore, so she's kind of been left in the dust a bit. But overall, she is still a great champion, and I still use mine in Dark Fae, so I can't complain too much about her. 3 more. Let's go. Melga. Melga's not bad. Melga can be a good reviver for dwarves. The revive isn't great. 2 random allies with 20% HP, 20% turn meter, and a shield. Now, the shield gives this to 50% HP. The 20% turn meter, it's an okay revive. It's on a 5-turn cooldown. It's a 2 ally. For an epic, it's decent. She does do some shield and healing as well, and then an A1 that exists. So, not amazing. You might build her for Faction Wars. She can be actually very helpful in Faction Wars. But we've got 2 left. Let's go. Load Painted used to be one of the most hated epics in the game. She has gotten significantly buffed, and she's now one of the better healers in the game with this fully heal. And then the extra heal spills off to other people. So she's never going to need 100% of her max HP. So that surplus heal is going to spill over. And if she's got tons of HP, so you build her with you can build her with over 100k HP. So even if she feels 50% of HP, 50% of that spills over to everyone else. So that's a 25k heal to everyone else, not counting any bonuses for heal percentages, masteries, anything like that. So overall, decent skill. One more. Come on, let's get a good legendary, please. And that is not a good legendary, but that's a Deacon. I'll take a Deacon. Deacon is amazing. Deacon is the builds turn meters and takes an extra turn. Does the decreased defense AoE, throws out leech, and basically he ends up cycling through this skill, and then he does this skill every other turn. Got a great speed aura, very useful in clan boss for some of the clan boss teams, useful in arena, useful in all kinds of content. I used him in Fire Knight for a long time. I used to use him all over the place when I got him. He's a great champion. He's still a champion I use to throw into various teams. He is a champion that I look to use if I need turn meter, or if I need decreased defense, or if I need a 2-hit A1, or I want a speed lead, even in endgame. So, yeah, so that'll be an empowered beacon. So, overall, it was kind of a meh, and I don't know how to react to some of this stuff. Legendaries are great. In fact, let's go check my Guardians quickly, and let's see. I don't want your stuff, Polarium. Stop. Action Guardians. So we got a Roxam. So that's plus 10% HP on all my 8 lizards. That's not too bad. We got a Korgar. I'm very sure Korgar is new on this account, but let's double check. Do not have any. And then we got... That's right. And then we got Errol, a champion so mythical, I forgot about him. Not quite sure how that happened, but all right, so that's it for my alt. We'll be back on Sunday to pull on my main.